Alright, welcome back. Today I'm going to be working on the dual motor setup. As you guys know, last time I ran it, went ahead and broke a tooth on one of the gears. These are both 29s. I don't know what caused it, but these are Traxxas's gears, and they're not made out of the best quality. So I had ordered some more 29s because these were 29s, as you see written on them, but they sent me 29s that were 8mm bore for basically the arm of spool. So I had to reorder them for the TP power. All they had was 30s in Mod 1 in hot racing that I can get a match set for. Everything else out there was one here, one there. I have to buy one from New York and one from some other state, and I just don't like doing that. So I had originally ordered Tekin or Techno gears or Tekin gears. I can't remember which one. I ordered those, and of course they came, and or they didn't come. After 4 days I sent them an email because I got a tracking number, but they were never shipped, and they apologized and said that they didn't have two in stock. They apologized for the misunderstanding, and they're going to refund me my money. So anyhow, I finally got a set of gears. I'm going to go ahead and get these shimmed into this setup because this is a nightmare to get any kind of gear set up for. And what I don't like is that they come full of oil, which everybody knows, so I will have to get that oil off of there. And then get some Loctite put onto them. So this might just work, I don't know. I have these cut out in a certain position to accept the 29s. And that has enough play for my 30s as well. So I'm hoping that both 30s will go on without having to reclock these gears so that they work. Now I will have to brake clean these things before I final install them. But I did clock them with the gears that were on there. So I'm hoping that these will work in the position that they're at, so that I don't have to spend another half a day trying to get these things to work right. Seeing already see how there's no play now? What I have to do is clock this motor a little bit so that I get that play. So this motor is still a little off and needs to clock a little more clockwise, I guess you would say, so that there is backlash on both. If you don't do that, they're fighting each other. And it's very hard to get them clocked right, which I've learned. gives me very little room to slide. Now I know this needs to be cocked something like that. I'm sorry, I can't really see. Hopefully that's right now. And there we go. So I have that little play in between both gears. So that lets me know that both motors are in like neutral, not on the magnet. And that was the trick to stop it from overheating, is to get this play, this mesh play, the same on both motors. Because if you have one motor on the magnet and one not on the magnet, one's trying to force it away from the magnet while one's trying to hold it, and the motors are fighting each other. So what you have to do is that neutral position on a motor, it has to be set there. So all motors, like this one, if you turn it, you feel that clicking. And in between that clicking is in between two plus and minus on the magnet. So if you have one halfway in between, the motor's always going to want to fight. You see? It's always going to want to go back to that position. So if you have two of them and one is on the magnet fighting to get off the magnet, and one is in neutral, is what I call it, in between the magnets, which is in between that click, then they're going to be wanting to fight each other. So one's going to push while one is pulling, and it's just going to create a bad situation, which I learned. So what I ended up doing was, on this motor mount, you can actually clock the motors, and you want them clocked in a position to where you have that mesh play, just like you would with a single motor, dual motors. And what I had the first time is I had set one gear on, set my mesh, and then put the other one on, and it was fighting the other motor. I couldn't find the position where they both would give play like this, where they're both resting in a neutral. This way, they'll both, no matter where it stops, have that neutral play. Now I can't turn it all the way around because right now the grub screw on this one is hitting, and the grub screw on this one might be hitting. And what I ended up having to do was, for one, grind out those, but I had to take the hex on the grub screw and grind it down as well, because what I found, you see the grinding mark? I actually had to shave this to where it wasn't sticking up so high, which sucks. But that's what I'm going to experience now because these grub screws aren't in all the way. So what they end up doing is hitting the housing to where the motor's at. Which looks to be this one. I might just steal the grub screw out of this one because it's already shaved down. So that might work better. Alright, so let me get some Loctite put on these things. Let me get this all set up and we'll turn the camera back on. Another thing is, going to be testing out a set of fans that somebody had sent me. Game Changer RC. He's developed these high flow fans and we're going to give them a shot. So once I get them tested, we'll be doing a whole review on these fans. Alright, see if this keeps things cool. Alright, we'll be right back. Now, another thing I wanted to point out, when doing a twin motor setup like this, I bought these motors together from the same company, both 1700 kV. One was like 1712, one was 1708. But I noticed, see on the back here, one's got a shaft that sticks out, and one's got a shaft that's flush. Now, in doing that, on the front, one shaft is flush, one shaft sticks out. And these are both TP Power 1700s, both the same kV. But what I also noticed, they both are same coil winding, same everything, except the center shaft with TP are different. So even though I bought the same company, same brand, same kV, they're built differently. And I don't know if that's been my problem in dealing with a dual motor setup, but quality with TP is definitely different when it comes to the same motor. So I'm going to go ahead, now that I got this all Loctited down, both my gears on, both my meshes set the same. I'm going to go ahead and get these installed into the car and get this car all back up and running. Another thing with the remote control to this, I've got this all mounted up. It's tight now, it's straight. Everything is plastic JB welded in, so nothing is loose. My battery, instead of going flat here, because this is not flat, it's got a line in the center and these both taper down. I went ahead and zip tied this onto the side, 2S, which I'll probably be switching out to a 3S, but I am going to test it on a 2S, so all I have to do now is plug these two. I got it all soldered together. Plug those two in, and then when I power it up, I've got my blue light coming on. So my signal and everything is working. My signal strength is stronger, but we'll go ahead and see if it works. So powering it off, the light goes off, and then all I do is unplug my battery, and that's the way I have my remote set up. And because I use it in my left hand and right hand for steering, the battery sits pretty much perfect where I want it and nothing's loose. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this all put together, and you guys seen me do it 1,000 times. This just comes out, plugs right into that. It literally at this point takes, I want to say, 10-15 minutes tops to get everything put back in. I'm also probably going to change out my support braces now that I have it apart again, and I have my new ones. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'll be right back. All right, back again. Went ahead and got the motors mounted up. My mesh is still correct for both motors. Went ahead and got these two pieces changed out with aluminum now, so they're a lot stronger. I think that's what saved my motors last time, is the front bent. Instead of it bending the chassis and damaging the back of the motor into the steering, I think this supported right to where it was supposed to, and it bent in the front. But that's just a theory. So I'm going to go ahead and get the ESCs mounted up next. So right here are my two ESC wires that plug right into my ESCs here. All I have to do is set this on top. So it sets on like that. grab my ESC plugs, make sure my colors are right, plug them in. Just need to make sure black is going to brown. So those tuck in there like that. And then I put my bolts in, front and rear. And it's as simple as that. Put the 2 bolts in for the chassis brake brace, which also includes the 2 cat packs and the 2 ESCs on it. So I made this really easy to service by doing it this way, since everything is mounted to my plate. All I have to do is screw in these 2 bolts, plug in those 2 wires, and then the 6 wires to the ESC, and that's it. Everything's hooked back up. When I install the 5 bolts to the motor from the bottom, plug in the 2 fan wires that split off to each fan, so all 4 slots are taken up on my receiver. So I did these to where they're in order so I don't get confused. They're both the same, red, white, black on both ESCs. These plug right into the batteries, and that's it. Here, what I do is I pop off the cap, I drill the hole in my plate for my wiring, and I just fish up my receiver wire for my antenna. It'll come out at the top just a little bit. I fold over the end and put on the rubber cap, and that holds it up. That's it. She is all ready to run now. So these have got the new silver deboots hoons on it, and that's it. She is ready for a rip. So my next challenge is going to be throwing on some bigger fans, and we'll see how that goes. I am going to do a fan review on that on the next few videos. I'll let you know this is going to run to a separate battery, and this is going to go on. So I'm probably going to do it on my blue car, on my test one, or I'll put it on my fastest car. One of those are going to get this fan set up. Alright guys, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys on my next video. Thanks for watching.